We're gonna make it a party today with a disco tiled taper candle holder and a rolled beeswax candle. We're gonna work first on our taper candle holder. So we're just gonna use some disco tiles and add them right to a glass taper candle holder. We do like to use a razor blade and then disco tiles. There's a variety of ways you can do this, but since it's a small surface, we're not too worried about doing this perfectly. We'll just kind of bend one row of our disco tiles. They have an adhesive back to them. And then we're gonna use a razor blade to cut along this back edge here. Very carefully cutting that off. I'm gonna work on the bottom first. I'm gonna remove that backing to reveal the sticky side. And then I'm just gonna put it down directly onto my surface for as long as it goes. And then we're gonna repeat that. If you get to an end and they don't match up perfectly, you can leave it like that. Otherwise, you can use something like a razor blade or your fingernail to kind of move those last ones a little closer together. As you can see with the curve, they are more angled instead of that nice, just flat, nice and aligned surface. So these are gonna be done with just a couple at a time. I'm gonna cut off like maybe 3 at a time. And so as you can see, I need to do something about this so they actually have a curve. And that is where we like to use something like the razor blade, xacto knife. You're kind of just shifting these apart from each other to have more of an angle and then pressing them down a little bit. And you're gonna keep doing that around this edge. Once you're done with that first row around there, we're gonna add the second one, but I'm gonna make sure I stagger it similar to this as best as I can, the second row around that circle. This time I'm gonna try to work one at a time. The thing you have to remember is that disco balls are not perfect, and so your project does not have to be perfect either, because even the mirror tiles are a different size than each other. And once you're done with the second row on here, now we're just gonna finish off the much easier taper part right here with 4 of those rows of straight disco tiles. So now we can cut longer pieces and work with that. We're just adding that right to that bottom there. Remove the back, add it to the base, and I like to work up. And so now we've got our super fun, glittery taper candle holders, and we'll do our candle next. So to do a taper candle, you just need a beeswax sheet. It could be a colored one, like this one. This one's nice and long. And a nice clean surface so you don't get a bunch of stuff stuck to your beeswax sheet. And then some candle wick, a cotton candle wick. We're gonna be using just a roll of it because you don't need a base on these ones the way that you do with regular candles. We're going to cut a candle wick about 1 inch longer than the height that our candle is gonna be, there-ish. Then we're gonna kind of press this onto our candle right there. And now the hardest part is just gonna be trying to do this first overlap. And so I like to work from the bottom, and I'm just gonna do it. It's gonna crack the sheet a little bit, but the warmth of your hands is gonna be what keeps it going. And ideally you'll work slow so that the warmth of your hands will be what gets a nice roll here. Then we're gonna just work to keep rolling it in a nice tight roll. Literally that's all we're gonna do. Eventually it gets thick enough that you don't have to work quite so incrementally. And now you could do the whole thing, but if we want it to fit in this, we're gonna kind of check it every once in a while so it's not too thick in the end. I'm gonna call that good. Now you could use a pizza cutter to cut here, but I'm gonna kind of bend it backwards to create a little bit of a strip here. And that can actually be a way to do that too. So I'm gonna use the warmth of my hands to kind of press this down. If you want to, you can kind of aim the top a little bit more. We did it! Like with most candles, you're gonna trim this down to be more like 1/4 of an inch before you actually light it. And then you have a cute little party and it's so cozy and cute. So go make all the cute things. It's so fun. And it'll look really cute on your table.